Hi. Hi, I'm Steve Z, and I'm here to teach you how to use your tilt-shift lens the right way.
Look at the eyes.
Alright, I'm Steve Z, and I'm here to talk about the tilt-shift lens. The tilt-shift lens is often a misunderstood piece of camera equipment. I've seen a lot of people mention on the forum how the tilt-shift lens is just kind of a fad and is used just to create blur, and can't I just get a lens baby? It only costs $200. And so that reflects a general lack of understanding of what the tool does. The tilt-shift lens has been around for much longer than wedding photographers started to use it to try to make images that are cool. It actually has optical features that, when used correctly, can be used for certain techniques, and you can use those to expand the creativity in your own photography. When I shoot personal photos, walk-around photos, I almost always go straight for the tilt shift. The fact that I can align the focal plane of the camera to a direction that's not parallel to the camera sensor, just, for me, it adds a whole fourth dimension to my composing creativity. I don't always use it a lot for paid wedding and portrait shoots because the framing can be very time-consuming, and the result can often be somewhat disorienting. Another gimmicky trick is the thing where people use the tilt-shift lens to make things look miniature. And yeah, that's cool, it's fun to do, but you'll probably get bored with doing that, after a while. So let's see, what else do I have to talk about here? So I use a Nikon tilt shift, which is also a macro lens, has a handy extra feature, so I rationalize bringing it to weddings because I also use it for ring and detail shots. And so the two main components to tilt shift lens are the shift and the tilt. I don't use the shift very often. The shift is what is the component that slides the lens horizontally, or if you rotate it, will slide the lens vertically. So what this does, it gives the appearance that you are higher or lower or farther to the left or right than you actually are. So the traditional classic use for this is for architecture, where you are taking a picture of a tall building, and the effect you get when you look at the photo is the building lines kind of go like this. Well, by taking that lens, and if I was doing a vertical portrait of a skyscraper, by putting this lens up, it makes it seem like you're higher up. So what it can do is it can straighten out those non-parallel lines. So if you take a picture of a large building, or even if you have a church with big stained glass windows, you could use that to make those long stained glass windows actually be straightened out. So that's a simple overview of a feature of the shift portion. The tilt portion is the one that is most commonly used. The way you often see it used is wedding couple up against the wall, brick wall, and the little thin strip of line is in focus, but their face is in focus, their eyes are in focus, and everything else is blurry. Well, that's the type of technique where everybody says they call that a gimmick. Well, maybe it is. I call that using it the wrong way, in a joking way. I do use it that way sometimes. It's often called I've run out of other creative ideas, so I'm just going to make them blurry. Sometimes we have those. It's kind of like the jump shot for the tilt shift lens. And so that is achieved by using the tilt feature. So the tilt feature on the lens rocks the lens this way, and then also if you turn it 90 degrees, then it rocks it the other way. And so to do it that wrong way, so it's going to do a vertical shot of a couple on the wall, you can just rock it up, rock it down, and what it does is the parallel angle. So this is geometry. You got to get your geometry on a little bit. So the angle of that tilt shift plane will be coming from up above, down through the couple, and then off into the back. something that people often neglect to notice. So if a couple is standing in an open area and there are objects in the distance in the background, whether you tilt this up or whether you tilt this down, at some point there will be something in the far background or foreground that will be in focus. And people often neglect to notice, they're so focused on just, okay, I'm going to blur everything out. I'm going to get the couple space in focus. And then they'll have this thing going down to the background, and they sort of fail to notice that the other thing in focus in the back, well, is like a garbage can or something that you don't really want to highlight in your image. So it's very important when you even use it, what I call the wrong way, is to pay attention to where that focal plane is going to wind up. In front, in back, left, right. A really cool way to use it the wrong way is put a couple like under a tree or under a building and something that has an overhang. So if you have a couple standing under a tree and there's some branches coming forward, well, if you orient it down so that that focal plane is down, hits them, it's going away from those branches that are in front of you at such an angle that the blur is just amazing blur, and it's really quite a stunning effect. So now, let's talk about using it the right way. And this is the part that I find the most interesting, the most rewarding and challenging. It's to create a composition that ties elements by a focus that are not parallel to you. So when you use a regular shallow depth of field, you're just constrained to the things that are in this plane. So what I can do now is I can make things at different angles be in focus at f2.8 even. So I can have, so a string of, or have a alter pubos. So if you want to have pubos that are kind of aligning down, you could make all of those pubos in line all the way down that shot, and then the people in the back and then the people in the front, they would be all out of focus. Or I've done it with bridesmaids and groomsmen, so corsage is lining up, during that ceremony time. So now these are tricky shots, and if you were only going to use it for paid shoots, you'd probably never learn it. It was something that you really need to kind of explore on your own time, because it takes quite a long time to sort of understand, and different people are going to have different ability to process the idea of focal planes in three-dimensional space. But if you're into that sort of thing, it can lead to some creative compositions that you might not achieve otherwise.